Before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, another episode here on Fast Break for IE Sports Radio. I want to introduce y'all to our main title sponsor, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports, unlike any other sports organizations out there, players playing to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just trying to play and stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on the quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Wherever you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now to the show. With NBA free agency underway, we'll discuss all the signings and happenings going around the league. But where does KD and Kyrie go? Do they go separately to different teams? Do they stay together? We'll discuss all those possibilities in the latest news on that front. Plus, does Westbrook get traded sometime this offseason, or did they Lakers hang on to him? And which one of the Supermax contract extensions were the best out of all the bunch? We'll discuss that and much more here on Fast Break, live on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for that as always sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got lots to discuss tonight within this hour. Lots of NBA. There's a lot of news right now and all that stuff. So we got to get started. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
Everything is good, man. I already told you, I'm trying to figure out this news about KD and Kyrie. They've been buzzing about this for the past couple of days, so I'm trying to hit that. But it's been an exciting free agency. Actually, exciting off season. Even though NBA Finals just recently ended, it still feels like we're in the season right now with the draft going by in the free agency, and now there's big news about KD demanding or wanting to get traded.
Yeah, last week we were on here. We talked about Kyrie and stuff like that for a second. You know, it's like, is he going to be committed or not? We don't know what the deal is and whatnot. Then, you know, he opts to end his contract for the $36 million. Once that happened, D-Lock, then KD comes around and says, hey, I want to be gone. In your eyes, sir, what do the Nets do about this situation? Because, and we talked in the show in the past about the Nets. It's like one thing after another between the combination between Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and then you throw in James Harden in there, and then you throw in Ben Simmons. What do you foresee happening between KD and Kyrie?
me, to be honest, they sound kind of odd to say, but I think both of them try to go to the same team. At first, I was thinking that it's more so the fact that KD doesn't want to be there, the fact that Kyrie is back, but coming out hearing that they had full conversation with, or they did not have, they had conversations with each other, but not with Brooklyn about everything that was going on. So for me to see, Kyrie opt in and then come back the very next day, or I think within 24 to 48 hours, KD wants out. So for me, I just feel like these two have something up their sleeve. I don't know exactly what it is. Clearly, right now, it's like Brooklyn is probably going to lose Kyrie next year either way. So they're probably better off possibly trading him to get something back in return if they can. He's already kind of pointed out where he wanted to go, or where he's planning to go. I'm sorry, Kyrie is saying that. So for me, you already know what the situation is with Kyrie, and now KD wants out. Now there's already sources saying that clearly Phoenix is an option that he wants, and Miami. But Miami is an option that he wants with Bam, Jimmy Butler, and Kyle Lowry in Miami. Then there's also hearing that Phoenix or Brooklyn say they're not going to trade for him unless they get Devin Booker. That's what Brooklyn's saying. So right now, it just seems like the options that KD is looking for or has listed seem like it's probably more likely not going to happen in my eyes. And honestly, if you look at, there's a few teams that can possibly make the trade. We just seen, we'll talk about Rudy Gobert getting traded. Rudy Gobert just went for a hell of a lot of first round picks.
I still don't get that.
Yeah, we're both in our brain question marking that, but he just went for that. So if you are looking at that, if you're Brooklyn, you think in your mind, well, damn, if that's what Gobert went for, like we about to get something crazy for Kevin Durant. So that's something that is very important that we got to watch for. But I don't know, man. Right now, I'm as crazy as it may sound, I do see KD and Kyrie be on the same team next year, if possible. Seems like both of them trying to get out of Brooklyn, if you ask me.
It's crazy. I'll be honest. I want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Terry Rodriguez in the chat. The question about you got about Summer League basketball, is that regarding pros or high school? So get back to me. I probably can help y'all in that regard. Shout out to Mike Pat. Mike will be right after us tonight. Probably discussing in detail about Bradley Beal and his contract extension and what that means for him and the Wizards. Shout out to Adam Karnick. Zach LaVine, hey, stay in Chicago, for the next 5 years. So he got his bag as well. And shout out to Aaron X in the chat. Welcome as well, sir. And I know the Pacers are kind of in rebuild mode. So, and the discussion about, they got rid of Malcolm Brogdon. Who knows what they're going to do with Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. But it always kind of, falls back to KD and Kyrie in this sense. Let me go with Kyrie first. And Aaron brought a good point. Along with Adam. I see like nobody doesn't want to mess with him at the moment. Except the Lakers, it seems like. And if I'm Rob Pelinka and the Laker brass, if you're gonna make that move for Kyrie, you stall him out. Don't rush to get this deal done. They're the ones that gotta move Kyrie. They the ones that trying to get rid of Kyrie, any essence of him, anything like that. They the ones that desperate. People saying, "Oh, the Lakers, they're desperate, get rid of Westbrook and all that stuff," and blah 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 blah. You gotta think about this. You can argue for Westbrook that, despite the bad season that he had, this guy shows up to work, comes in, plays hard, and whatnot. And in the year prior, had a very stat-wise good season for the Wizards. They came on late that year. You know, him and Bill finally got rolling in a sense for Washington. But this kind of like came a little bit too late to really do something. So, for the Lakers, since, and I said this in the show, D-Lock, that 2027 first round pick they've trying to attach to these trade packages, I would keep that pick. They gotta keep that pick. And Adam, you know, you said except for the Lakers, got to make that LeBron money pay off soon. I'm always showed the Crooks process, and when I talk about LeBron signing with the Lakers, my only wish for when LeBron signed, when I said in that episode years ago, if LeBron can at least bring one chip to the Lakers, I am cool. Yes, multiple ties will be fine and awesome. But in the history of the Lakers, when they get these star players, whether it's trade or free agency, they always brought in one title to the team. Whether it's Shaq, Pau Gasol, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, LeBron, they all won at least one title with the franchise. And for LeBron, that's what I wanted him to do. So for me, I think the Lakers got the money worth winning that championship in the bubble. But that's Kyrie and all that. I don't know what the Nets do with Kyrie. I bet you they wish he didn't pick up his option. I guarantee you they wish he didn't. He didn't pick up his option. Because, yeah, we may have tried to find the best field for Durant, but at least there's one problem's out the way. What to do with him? I don't know. Let's see. Chat thing's kind of... Why are you doing this to me? Okay, we're back good. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Internet was kind of redirecting and whatnot. But we're back up. In your eyes, D-Lock, does Kyrie kind of... I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Does he kind of not see, everywhere he's kind of went post Cleveland has not worked out? It's like, if he goes to LA with LeBron, will it work out this time around? Granted, yes, you're older and mature. You're older per se, but is it going to work this time around? Do you think him and LeBron can work it out in your eyes?
Well, to your first question,
question. I feel like everywhere he has been is uh, uh, going kind of up and down, and I think one reason through it is because of Kyrie's ego. Now I feel like Boston may have been a lot of spots. I think Boston probably was the best spot for him. He was, in a sense, in a good spot, good team around him. Probably could have had the best success there. I just felt like, it got to the point to where he said he wanted to have his own, Kyrie, like I said, he moves on his own. So, for me, I just feel like certain places he kind of reminds me of, like they say about Jimmy Butler. A place only works, for a couple of years, then he goes somewhere else. But the Jimmy thing seemed like it's kind of panned out pretty decent right now in Miami. So I just feel like right now Kyrie just has to find somewhere where I guess he's more so of asking for something that he's not. He doesn't need to be. He wants to be the leader. He wants to do all these things. But maybe that's not the role that he really needs to play. And he doesn't see the success that he had in Cleveland. Now, I remind you, before LeBron got there, Cleveland wasn't doing that good at all either.
No.
So, So for me, I think this is something that we're just seeing on a consistent, whether it's, Boston or Brooklyn. Now, a lot of people say that, well, hey, I think that if he goes to LeBron, it's not going to work. The thing about LeBron is the greatest thing I think about him, one of his biggest strengths, is he's a leader. Now, one person, obviously, it doesn't look like it's panned out. We'll see. With Russ, we thought that, we kind of knew, though, going there, that just wasn't going to work, just the style of play that they both have. But I think that if Kyrie was to go to the Lakers with LeBron, I think he needs a player like a LeBron, to be honest, to get the best out of him. And right now, that's kind of what LeBron is looking for in the stage of his career right now. He's looking for somebody that can take that role because don't forget, LeBron was literally up there giving 38 minutes a game, between 30 and 40 minutes. Like, this dude was going crazy. So I think now, older, he doesn't need to be on the court as much. He needs somebody to go get some points when he's not there. And we see what happened when he's not on the court. We've seen that in L.A. So I think it could work, but clearly we know the biggest question is what the health of Anthony Davis. But we know what Kyrie is. We know Kyrie can go get a bucket at any point. We've seen it happen. So honestly, I think that would probably be a really good spot. Kind of a big brother, little brother back together type thing. And I think that'll work out the best if he had to choose, if he was to go there.
I guess that's my only real concerns. Like, it seemed like like Aaron alluded to here in the chat, is like the social media stuff, what he says. I'm not saying all things they say is not true. I'm not saying that at all. But like sometimes, you gotta pick your battles. People like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, they're gonna say these things, say what they're gonna say to get ratings, to get social media clicks and views and stuff like that. I mean, that's how they're gonna operate. But for him, if you get past all the mandates and stuff like that, one thing you always tie Kyrie Irving to is injuries.
Yeah, and that's the thing is a lot of times, little injuries here and there does hurt a lot. So to have a Kyrie injury situation with Kyrie and then have that with Anthony Davis, doesn't help anything. But I just feel like we've seen what the Kyrie and LeBron James connection did in Cleveland. I think it worked pretty well. And even though it's only been a year, we've seen what the connection between LeBron and Russ looked like. Nah, no matter who I'm a fan of, I would rather see the Kyrie and LeBron connection rather than the Russ and LeBron. That just didn't look like it would work at all. It just out there playing street ball, and clearly that doesn't work. So for me, I know there's injuries, but I just feel like we can see a different Kyrie under LeBron in my mind. That's just where I am with it. I think that Kyrie would be a lot, he'd be a better fit with LeBron than anywhere else, because him getting his own team, that clearly doesn't work out and hasn't.
Yeah, and that, as a Laker fan, I'll speak up for this. Be careful who you're trying to trade for, because I use Malcolm Brogdon for example. Got traded to the Celtics for a whole bunch of role players in a first round pick. I went on Twitter yesterday, say, hey, and I haven't admitted this on that video, D-Lock. I told Boston fans, hey, get Malcolm Brogdon. It's a high risk thing. If the injuries are behind and whatnot, it's a great pickup. I told him, I said that after the NBA Finals concluded, Boston need another guard to take the point guard duties away from Marcus Smart. I think pretty clear that Marcus Smart, and you alluded to, he's like a combo guard. Guy you don't handle the ball like that all game like that. So, getting to Malcolm Brogdon, high risk move. If the injury behind him, hey, cool. Boston fans are up in our mentions on our Twitter page saying, "Oh, it's a great pick. He had to do so much, blah 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 blah." And they're forgetting the fact this dude hasn't played 60 plus games, but only once in his NBA career. Kyrie Irving, kind of in the same boat as well. The Lakers don't need that type of mess, for next year, where expectations are high. Jeannie Buss saying, I spent all this money on the luxury tax. I expected better results. Anthony Davis, with his injury history, and we brought this up last week, what JJ Redick said about Anthony Davis. If he ain't feeling a full 100%, if he like 80 or something like that, he ain't playing. LeBron's getting older. The injuries are starting to mount up on him. You got to find somebody consistent. There's one trade out there that could happen between the Nets and the Lakers. You trade away Anthony Davis and Westbrook for KD and Kyrie. Would you do that move if you're the Lakers, D-Lock?
You said 80 for KD and Kyrie and for Russ?
Yeah, Russ and AD for Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm the Lakers. I'm running that trade quick, and I won't look back. And the reason why is because I know what Anthony Davis is. I know what he can be, but it's just the fact that the injuries is what hurts me.
Yep.
With him. Like I just don't know. Like I said, the Lakers are one of the best teams out there with the healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron. But that's one thing that we are trying to, you want. Um, but to you know what KD is? He can fit anywhere, and that takes hell of a lot of pressure off of LeBron. Now you're going to have, let's say, you have that three, which would sound crazy. To see a Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Kyrie on the same team would be something that many people would not have thought they would see. But I think that combination. Remember what Kevin Durant has said for the longest. All he wants to do is play ball. He wants to play ball. He don't want any other issues. He just want to play ball and go about his business. Play ball, go home, that's it. Win championship, boom. I feel like anybody that has that mindset, it's best that you probably play with LeBron because we don't really hear when it comes to LeBron James. We never hear any issues going on with LeBron. It's always, hey, he's just playing ball, have high expectations type thing. Outside of that, and that's why I said that him going to the Lakers, for KD, I think that would be a fair trade-off in a sense for Brooklyn. You get a big. You already have a Ben Simmons, who I'm thinking they're probably going to more likely build around. Kyrie is already going to be gone. You probably could possibly try to work a way around getting Russ to stay, I guess, another year if you want. But the fact is you get something in return rather than not have anything at all. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm probably definitely running that trade because now you get to find a way to get off of that Russ deal. And now come on now, KD and AD, that's a no-brainer for me.
We'll see what happens with Kyrie. I just I just like you keep on hearing reports saying they engaging again, not again. The Nets not satisfied with draft picks. Marcus had a good point when he commented on one of our posts. Maybe start looking at Sean Marks' direction in some of this. That you kind of had a very good young core in D'Angelo Russell, Jared Allen, Caris LeVert, picked up Joe Harris along the way. And I feel like I'm missing somebody in that young group. But those guys had a good young core going. Had a good thing going. And you just stuck like a capable superstar. And maybe somebody like Ryan underneath there, you can do some things in the East. But they were so thirsty that Kyrie and Kevin Durant became available. That James Harden wanted to go up there. And you kind of just blew everything up altogether. And now you gave away all that depth. You traded all those draft picks for Harden. What you got to show for it? Like you mentioned, the silver lining with the Nets, it kind of depends on Ben Simmons and his status. If he's back, ready to play, not all is lost in the world. But if he's not, you up creek without a paddle. And mind you, Kenny Atkinson, the coach, you get rid of him as well. That's another thing too. So, wherever Brooklyn does, or whoever, KD and Kyrie get traded to, you got to think long and hard which way you're going to go. And do what's best for the franchise.
that'll definitely be something that is hard to um, get by. But I think the fact that clearly, if it is an option where the Lakers got a damn Kevin Durant, it'll be like a wow type thing. But I mean, we talk about the Lakers too. Like damn near everybody want to play for the Lakers at one point anyway. Or they're considering, or that's a team that they've envisioned themselves playing for. So I think that at this point, that could be a big option, knowing, like I said, the fact that Kyrie has already made that decision clearly that he wants to go to LA. And also another thing too, we're looking at all these teams, right? We talk about Gobert getting that. Utah getting that trade, or getting those picks. What team has enough assets to get a Kevin Durant that Brooklyn is going to be okay with? And honestly, I mean, if you look at the fact that I'm thinking right now, Anthony Davis is probably the player that you probably want to have. Phoenix is not giving up Devin Booker.
No,
that's not happening.
And and he can't get traded there anyways.
He can't get traded exactly, so he's not going anywhere. Bam. Also, I was hearing that he can't get traded to Brooklyn because of specific rules, and also, Katie said he would if he goes to Miami, he wants to play with Bam. So, for me, I think the Lakers is a huge possibility. Another team that could be a shot in the dark is maybe Boston. But I basically said it's because of the fact that they beat them, they swept them. But we know KD's history of going to teams that whoop his ass, so you never know. But like I said, honestly, in my mind, like I think everything is pointing to possibly him going to LA. Well, hell, I mean, right now I ain't gonna lie, I'm dreaming. Is there any way he gets to Orlando? Hell, we don't know. Is there any possible way? But everybody's gonna want to have Kevin Durant, but they're gonna have to give up a lot. And it's looking at what these teams have in return. It would be wise for Sean Marks to take the best trade option. And it's just looking like Lakers could be one of those top options or best option.
So we'll wait and see what happens there. I'm looking now. No new. I mean, only thing I really see right now before we talk about the max contracts and signings and whatnot and trades. Mark J. Spears of ESPN. He put out a report that the Warriors may be interested in trading for Durant. So, before we move on, like each team should have an interest in Kevin Durant. They should at least kick the tires on Kevin Durant. At least. So, it's no surprise if you hear so-and-so team interested that they're interested in Durant. I think each team should at least kick the tires on that. So, do keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that, hey, if you hear so-and-so team's interested, that's where we at.
Everybody's going to be interested in this. Like I said, hey, Orlando better give a call. I don't give a damn what you got. You better at least call and see what they going to do. Yeah, I'd rather you hang up on me than me not give a call at all.
And speaking of calls and whatnot, Rudy Gobert gets traded to the Utah Jazz for Patrick Beverley, Malik Beasley, draft pick, Walker Kessler. Who else? I think I missed somebody. I'm trying to pull a trade. I'm just going to top of my head with this. Come on. Oh, Vanderbilt and multiple first round picks. In your eyes, D-Lock, does that raise the ceiling for the Timberwolves for next year?
I think that means there's definitely some high expectations. Now you did move Beverly, but at this point, still want to see what's happening with D'Angelo Russell, even though it looks like he stays. Anthony Edwards, who he is, I think he's a up and coming star. Now you have a defender in Rudy Gobert there. Like you said, you can possibly start him at the 5, have Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4. This team should be able to grab everything off the glass. It should be insanely how many boards or rebounds that they can grab. So for me, I think that grabbing a Gobert, now I ain't gonna lie, that price tag that they gave him to get him, they got to get to the damn second round, hell, at this point at least, in the playoffs, because you gave up so much. At this point, I think that the expectation for the Timberwolves has moved up. There's going to be more pressure on Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell to have more consistent games as well. They gave up a lot to get Gobert, and I mean, I kind of can see a little bit of them trying to have some more defensive presence. But, for me, I told you before, I was like, what the hell are they doing? Because I just felt like I'm trying to sit here and think how will this starting 5 going to look. But in all, it makes kind of sense to put Karl-Anthony Towns at the four, less pressure on him. And they should be able to somewhat do what they want. Now, the thing is, now, Gobert is going to be more so your defender, basically. He's just your rebound and defending guy. Your offense is going to rely on Karl-Anthony Towns. It's going to run through Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards. They should be able to go pretty far with this team.
I think for me, real quick on this one, to give up those lot of picks for Rudy Gobert, it seems kind of real asinine in my eyes. And on top of that, you just gave Towns a major extension as well. So I think this thing is like, you take on Gobert's salary, it's a lot for a Minnesota team that kind of yo-yo here the past few years. It's going to be real interesting how this team plays. I know Karl Towns is probably the happiest that this trade went down because he can go out, he'd be out more on the perimeter, shoot more jump shots. I'm sure he's hella happy to be out on the perimeter more with Gobert on the fold now. I know he's ecstatic. Now, what does that translate in basketball terms? Well, you do more skid and rolls with Karl-Anthony Towns up top. I think more teams probably expect that, but I think you will see that happening more. Now, if that happens more, then Gobert should be at least have some good open looks down low. And then, top of that, Anthony Edwards as well, who's taking real big leaps each year. So, those things kind of happen, especially with Edwards taking that growth. I think, things can look up for Minnesota. But it's kind of like a wait and see type of thing. If some of that defensive awareness and attitude kind of rubs off on Towns when Gobert being there, they'll definitely go a long way for this Minnesota team. But that's ifs and buts. And Karl-Anthony Towns to me sometimes ain't like a dude that don't got that drive to be a whole complete player like he should be. Like I said, I think that giving up all those first round picks is kind of excessive for him at Gobert. And then for on the Utah side of things, what Danny Ainge is doing, I don't know. Is he trying to rebuild his team in a different way around Donovan Mitchell? Oh, time will tell. There are stories that they're shopping Jordan Clarkson as well. They traded Royce O'Neal away for another first round pick as well, mind you. That kind of seems kind of odd that Brooklyn did that. In which, your team could be in the dumps and you trade a first round pick for Royce O'Neal, but this madness. But for Utah, are you rebuilding? Or are you trying to retool your team a certain way? That's a lot of questions right there. So, I don't know, for Utah's eyes, I don't know which way they're going. Do Conley stays around in the fold for the long run? Do they try to change him to a veteran team? A lot of questions there, especially Danny Ainge. And the real tricky thing is, it's not like with Boston when like those guys with Pierce, Allen, and Garnett kind of aged out. You do got a young guy in the fold in Mitchell that you can build around in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be, I'm pretty sure they're going to build around him. I think he would be the guy. Now, I did hear some talks about, clearly I think some teams are trying to ask for Donovan Mitchell, but he's clearly not going anywhere in my eyes right now. But I think that building around him is what I'm expecting Utah to do. Now, I do think that Conley could possibly be moved. I just feel like you said, right now, what Danny Ainge is doing is it seems like he's just rebuilding, and he's trying to put pieces around Donovan Mitchell and kind of start from fresh with that team. And I don't forget, I believe Royce O'Neal was moved prior to Gobert getting moved. Royce O'Neal had got traded to the Brooklyn Nets. So for me, what does that tell me is it seems like Danny Ainge is trying to kind of start fresh with one piece that he do have, which we'll see how that pan out. But like I said, it worked out for Boston. Right now, that's what it seems like. And actually, on the way of working, they didn't win an NBA title yet, so we can't say that it successfully worked out perfectly yet. But we'll see what happens, man. I mean, like I said, that move alone just, when I seen that, I was like, okay, what the hell is this? When Minnesota just went and grabbed Gobert, but we have a lot more moves going, so I think there's a lot more shocking news that's going to drop.
I definitely agree with you there. And let's go around go around the league for the super maxes and whatnot, and discuss those real quick. Bradley Beal re-signed for 5 years, about $240+ million. You mentioned this on Twitter about Bill. It's all about the bag. Nothing wrong with that, but you better hope that team or some of those young guys come together and kind of elevate that team. What are your thoughts on Bill signing his extension?
But the biggest thing for me with Bradley Beal, the first thing I got when I seen that is this guy's comfortable.
Yep.
Because he just doesn't want to leave at all. He's just really comfortable. It just seems like, he want to pick up his money. I think the fact that he's clearly, with his own team, he doesn't want to go anywhere, and he's comfortable. Now we'll see what happens. They do got Porzingis there. I told you I really think Porzingis is a hell of a player when he's healthy, but that's the problem is that's his weakness.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be healthy for things to go well for them. So you got him, you got Kyle Kuzma there. So you have a few pieces. It's just that, Bradley Beal is going to be the guy that leads the charge. So I think that, him getting that extension or that money
guaranteed bag for sure. I mean, that's setting his family up for life for years and for a long time. But he's definitely comfortable, man. That's the first thing that came to my mind. This dude did not want to leave the Wizards at all because he had plenty of options, I'm sure.
Just real quick for me, Bradley Beal, get your money. You're entitled to that, all that stuff. But when his career is all said and done, he's not a Hall of Famer to me. Only way I see him getting the Hall of Fame is like not first ballot, like down the line. Unless something these next 5 years change his career for this team, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's somebody you duck down the road, like a very down the line road. So, hey, congrats, you got your money, but I don't see nothing change for the Wizards. Zach LaVine, same boat, got his money as well. We signed him with the Bulls to be that help be that cornerstone in the backcourt. We talked about the Bulls during the course of the season. A surprise team for good half of it. Then the injuries really killed this team's momentum to eventual first round exit against the Bucks. Smart move for the Bulls to sign LaVine to this long-term deal. Granted, with this injury history,
I think so. I know that he has that a few injury problems, but I think that you extend exactly. You're trying to keep that group together that they have. You want to keep that. And I think right now, I like what I feel like next year is going to be a better year for the Bulls. Also, another reason too, they're on the East. So I think they can make a good push moving forward. So I know that he does have that injury. He has those that injury problems, but for me, I like the fact that they're trying to keep that group together. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Lonzo Ball. But they, giving him that money, I know it's a lot, but we know what Zach LaVine can do moving forward. And I think even if you didn't, he was going to get paid somewhere else. It just where he's going with his career, he's going to get money somewhere. And I don't think as much clearly in other spots, but he definitely is having a better moving forward from what we've started seeing from LaVine. Because remember, we first heard about him with the slam dunk competition between him and Aaron Gordon. He's not that same kid anymore. I think he's definitely progressed his career. He's been a hell of a lot better. So that's a lot of money to invest in somebody, but I think that that was the right decision to keep that group together, or try to keep that group that they have together in Chicago.
And lastly, D-Lock, I think this is the one I want to kind of discuss before we head out. Zion Williamson got his max contract worth up to $231 million for 5 years. Zion has only played 85 games these past 3 seasons. With the All-Star appearance that, seems like they kind of shoehorn him in. What are your thoughts on Zion getting this big-time contract extension despite his minimal impact with the team?
I have mixed feelings about this, man. I don't mind. Like, I know that so many expectations of this kid. Like, he's going to be very good moving forward. But, damn, to give him that after what he has done, like, that's just insane to me to think. But it's like I feel like it, like, you know what you're going to get from him moving forward. But, dude, I ain't going to lie. If you get this dude this contract, you got to have some kind of stimulations in there about his weight, about his eating habits, all this kind of stuff. Like, you got to have all this stuff written down in the contract somewhere, because clearly him not playing and you giving him this money, like, I wonder how Pelican fans really feel about it. Because
other reason why too is Brandon Ingram had a hell of a season, and I feel like he's one of the up and coming stars as well. You got a good group there, without Zion being there at the moment this season. So I think that you have a solid team that you put together. But to put all that money into somebody that is injured and not available, availability is the best ability. And if that's not there, then you're basically paying him to sit. This kind of reminds me of the Magic having signing Grant Hill. Gave Grant Hill all that damn money, and we rarely seen Grant Hill. With so much high expectations when he was with the Pistons, we didn't see too much of him. So, for me, dude, that's I know it's you drafted him, so much high expectations of him, as they say, but to give him all of that money, that's the one that kind of had me kind of scratching my head out of all extensions, max deals.
For me, sometimes you gotta cut your losses in investments and stuff like that. I know the Pelicans are in a tight spot because, Anthony Davis went away, but in a sense, granted, yes, he did help lead Los Angeles to a title, but in a sense, what did he really do for you? If you really think about it, couldn't stay on the court too much. I think, way better than Zion, but kind of get my point. With Zion, though, is just like, it seemed like issue after issue and stuff like that. And they really shoehorned that All-Star appearance, and that's how he got this type of money. If he didn't get the All-Star appearance, I don't know if he got that type of extension. I think it's kind of ludicrous after playing 85 games. That's just a regular NBA season right there in itself. But spread that out spread out between 3 years. Just like Michael Porter Jr. was signing his extension with Denver, Zion's in that same boat. They better hope these guys are healthy or good to go. If not, God, they are stuck with these contracts until like the last year of their deal. And I'll say this while I'm on here, D-Lock. And no way I'm discouraging these players not take this money. And I'll say that on air. From guys like Jerome James back in the day, taking that big money deal from the New York Knicks, to Zion now, and Michael Porter now. Get your money how you get it. But I just look at more of these teams and stuff like that, like, y'all always shoot yourself in the foot in this, and then come collective bargaining agreement time, you want to try and change things up. There's a two-way street on these things. Y'all give up these deals that, based on potential, or you forecasting for the future. You can't do that. That's just bad business thinking. If Zion's that hurt and stuff like that, are y'all that cautious with them and all that stuff, are real timid with them, then don't put the investment in them. If you're that scared to really let the guy loose, don't invest in him. So that's what I see about Zion. Just like, he got his money. I'm happy for him. But like I said, the Pelicans better hope this guy is good to go. If he is, hey, with McCollum there, Ingram, Herb Jones, Jackson Haynes, Valanciunas, if Kyle Lewis is back from his ACL injury, you got a good looking squad right there. But if not, you fighting for that playing game spot again.
Back in the same situation.
Yup. Back in the same situation that you always been since the Chris Paul days.
It's hard to give up, somebody you drafted number one, so I kind of can understand that. But
yeah,
man, I just, like I said, that's why for me it was a toss-up and kind of had me scratching my head. But it's just like, if you're seeing, what do you see that's going to change what's going on right now in the people? That's why I said to pay him all that money. Like, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Play out. That's very interesting thing, to be honest.
I think there's something we'll probably visit down the road again. Next in like a few months and see how things go. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us here. Do follow us on Twitter at FastBreak at IESR. That is FastBreak IESR. Also, do follow IESportsRadio.com for all the latest news and feeds of every show in the network. Mike Pat is right next after us. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
Black-813. That's Black-813. That's know how you at, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Also, I do another show on the side called The Crooks Process. Do follow me on there on Instagram and Facebook. That's The Crooks Process. And we'll talk to y'all next week. And hopefully, KD and Kyrie news will drop sometime then. Until then, we're out.